Hey everybody, welcome to Frannie Square and to episode 10 of Show and Tell, where it's all about you. Okay, so before we get started looking at this week's submissions, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping and tell you what's coming up over the next week and what has been happening. First of all, I'm at 1,864 subscribers. Thank you, everybody who has subscribed to the channel and who participates. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. I have a giveaway when I hit 2,000 subscribers of 110 skeins of yarn. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out, go enter. I'll put the link right here. And I'm hoping to give that away very shortly. Next, as many of you know, I did a video called A Subscriber Needs Our Help about Claire Nicole, who lost everything in Hurricane Ida. And I'm so happy to report that so many of you have reached out to help her. Her GoFundMe page has $1,210 so far, and people have reached out to me for her address to send her clothing and other items. In that video, in the description under that video, I do have her email address if you'd like to get her mailing address so that you can mail her things. I do believe she's able to receive things now. So if you would like to help out, go take a look at that video and contact Claire. Now, what's coming up this week? Well, first, I am finally doing the flash review on the Furls Odyssey hook. I've used it quite a bit. As a matter of fact, I used it to make the ribbon bags that I just posted the tutorial for. And if you haven't seen that, go check it out. That was a lot of fun and I love those bags. So I used this on those bags, so I got quite a bit of use, and on a few other yarns because I like to check out different types of yarns and how they work with the hook. So I will be putting a flash review up of this hook by Tuesday. It may be sooner, but I'll say by Tuesday to be safe. Also, if you haven't heard, Furls has moved their warehouse and they're having a warehouse warming sale right now, which is 20% off of everything site-wide. So I know Furls is on the more expensive side. If you're considering getting Furls, I would say do it now. I'll put a link in the description below. I'm thinking about getting a few more for myself as well. The hard part is deciding which ones. Also, I was in Joann's picking up the polyfill for the pumpkins because we ran out. We made so many pumpkins. And I happened upon this cover story yarn. It's one humongous ball of yarn and it makes an Afghan, it says. And it's really more like a lapghan. It's a smaller blanket. But I quickly just crocheted this up, all half double crochet, because I figured with all the colors, it's busy enough. A fancy stitch wouldn't show. And I will be doing a review on that as well. And finally, with fall upon us, I'm feeling like doing a crochet along that has to do with fall. My thought is that I'm going to do a blanket, and I'm in the process of designing one, and I will hopefully be introducing it to you shortly. Okay, so that's all the housekeeping. Now let's get to your projects. So our first submission today comes from Nancy Lapierre, and she actually has a YouTube channel called Frenchie's Fiber Files. I'll put a link to her YouTube channel so you can check her out in the description below. Let's take a look at her work. She said, first-time contributor, my name is Nancy Lapierre, but this email is my channel name. That's Frenchie's Fiber Files. The cardigan is from Chenda DIY. That is a beautiful cardigan. I really like that. I like the length of it, and the buttons are so adorable. That's really a great job. The bags are from Yarn Geek's Scraptastic Bag Video. They are addictive and awesome to de-stash. Working on my third, holding 6 strands together of my least favorite yarns in 3 and 4 weight. Still have tons. We'll do a blanket after this one. Great idea. Love seeing people use up their scraps. Thank you so much for sending those in, Nancy. Okay, these next submissions are from Samantha Jefferson, and you've seen her. She's a regular. Look at these projects. So the first one is a sweater. Look how adorable that is with that blue trim. I love that. And it looks like there's a cable and nice ribbing. Really beautiful job, Samantha. The next picture is a dream catcher. I love that. And I'm wondering about that round form around the edge. What did you use for that, Samantha? If you see this, could you put that in the comments below? And Samantha also sent this hat in. She said she just used double crochet all the way. She loves simplicity. I do too, and I think this looks great. I love the colors you chose as well. Thank you so much for sending those in, Samantha. Next, SD McDaniel sent us some of her works in progress. Take a look. She said, you mentioned that you wanted pictures of our works in progress, and I have 2 projects I'm actively working on, so I thought I would send these to you. The first is my Winter Dreams turtleneck poncho. I'm making it for myself using the Lion brand Wool Ease DK cakes in the Winter Solstice colorway and size I9 crochet hook. It has a ribbed turtleneck cowl and the body is made using one of the granny stitch variations. I don't remember the name of this particular stitch, but it's one that is fairly popular. My second project, I'm calling it my Visions in Blue Modern Log Cabin Blanket. It's made with Caron Simply Soft yarn in a version of Country Blue that has long since been discontinued, a Country Blue variegated yarn that has also long been discontinued, and Navy Blue. The discontinued yarns were originally used to make crochet blanket for my parents, back when I was still considered a beginning crocheter over 20 years ago. I didn't secure my yarn ends sufficiently and it started to unravel. When they died this year, I was given everything I had crafted for them over the years. I took apart the original blanket and decided to remake it in a completely different style. It's made with a very easy 2-row repeat. 1 row, double crochets, next row, double crochet, chain 1. And for a hint of texture, I'm using the front post double crochet every time I start a new block. I hope you enjoy these. These are fantastic, SD. I am so sorry to hear about your parents. When you mentioned that you didn't weave in the ends well, I figured that's why you came up with your awesome method of weaving in ends. And if the rest of you don't know what I'm talking about, SD McDaniel sent me a PDF on how she weaves in her ends, and it's up on my website for free if you'd like to go check it out under resources. Thank you so much for sending those in, SD. So we have a lot of regulars this week. This next submission is from Maria Hall. Take a look. She said, I mix fibers too. I just try to make things unique. I draw and graph stuff, then just make things trial and error. Believe me, I frog a lot, which is good for everybody to hear. I used to only make laces, but I gave away for wedding gifts before I ever owned a camera or even a cell phone. I do take pictures about half the time. The other time, I'm just so thrilled with my project that I hurry and wrap it up so I can mail it off, LOL. And look at these projects. They are awesome. I cannot get over this Superman. I showed this to my husband. He wants one now. What guy doesn't want to be Superman, right? That's awesome. And it looks like for each of her projects, she graphs or draws up what she's going to do. And then here, this picture says thin yarns as edging. So she's showing me on the edging of this blanket here that she used some thin yarns. Because I put out to everybody, what am I going to do with all of these thin yarns that I just got in my Ice Yarn Mixed Lots haul? Thank you so much for sending those in, Maria. So my next subscriber is passionate about animals and crocheting and charity. And she reached out to me because she wanted to just let people know that they can use their crochet and knitting skills for charity work and how much it's appreciated. And I know that we have a lot of subscribers who do that. I will read Jenny, her name is Jenny. I will read her suggestions for charities in a second. But first I have to say, Jenny, if you're watching this, I have this scrap and I think that you would keep this and use this. She said she keeps all of her scraps as long as they're at least 12 inches long and makes projects out of them. So I'm gonna show you one of her projects that she's making right now with scraps. And it really made me wanna keep this instead of throwing it away. Now I just have to work it in somewhere. So as far as charities and nonprofits that she suggests, she works for one called Blankets for Critters, and you'll see some of her projects. She makes blankets for rescue animals that they can sit and relax on, and then when they go to their forever home, they have this blanket that they're already comfortable with, which I think is such a wonderful cause. So that's one of her suggestions. She said also donate lapgans and afghans to senior living and nursing homes. Donate hats, mittens, and scarves to homeless shelters, winter clothing drives, domestic violence shelters, excellent idea, neighborhood centers, etc. Be a mentor to a child in need. Crochet is a great activity for children to learn, and it builds confidence. And I love that idea too, because I'm trying to get the younger generation involved in crocheting. I'd hate to see this skill die out, and it's such a wonderful skill. And I think it's good for you. And like you said, you can use your skills to help others as well. Also, create some cute little treat bags for kids. She makes them with different themes like Halloween, Christmas, and spring. Donate a creation for silent auctions or raffles. She's donated baby blankets and Afghans to various nonprofit groups trying to raise money. Donate to holiday events for low-income families. She makes scarves and amigurumi toys to be distributed at local events. Make hats for cancer patients going through chemotherapy. There are multiple volunteer groups. And I know there are also groups that make things that can be placed in the bra for women who have had mastectomies. So that's something you can do. You can start a crochet instruction group. And you can donate yarn for any of these awesome causes. So those are all great ideas, Jenny. Thank you so much for sending those in. Now let's take a look at her work. She said, today I am working on a kitty blanket made completely from yarn scraps. I keep all of my scraps over 12 inches long. Seems crazy, I know, but I don't like to waste yarn. And when you put enough scraps together, you can make some awesome stuff. I started out with the idea of making some mini squares or join as you go, corner to corner, to use these scraps, but ended up doing something completely different. I fully intended that this would be ugly and I would end up ripping it apart, but I really think this looks pretty cool so far. I agree, I love it, and I love the colors. I am using 2 strands of totally random scraps, but this would look fabulous with some neon colors mixed with black, pastel combos, etc. I plan to finish it this evening, but this is a great example of how you can use even the smallest of scraps to make something nice. I can't wait to make another one with different colors and stitches. I love that. So these next blankets, she said, since it's kitten season here, kitty blankets have been my primary focus recently. I've attached a few photos. So in the first photo, it's the bean stitch, that red color there. I love that. And then this blue, I can't tell exactly what stitch that is, Jenny. If you would put that in the comments below, that would be fantastic, but that's really pretty. Then in this third picture, I love this. It looks like the waffle stitch and she's doing it in squares. And if you don't know how to do the waffle stitch, I do have a tutorial on that you can go take a look at. But that looks fantastic and I love those colors together. And then finally, she has this yellow one here. This stitch looks nice and cushy for the little kitty. Next, she sent these 2 Afghans. Take a look at these. The first one, Who Rescued Who? Oh my goodness, how adorable is this? Pattern purchased on Ravelry using Red Heart yarn. This was my first and most likely last attempt at this type of blanket. There are a lot of really nice patterns, but I frogged this so many times that I almost gave up. You really have to pay attention to stitch count. So it is not a good project to do while watching TV. Lesson learned. And the second one is a Red Heart Dusty Snowflake pattern on yarnspirations.com. And I will put that link in the description because she included the link in her email. There is also a video tutorial for it on Crochet Crowd's YouTube channel, so you can go check that out as well. She said, I really love the look of this blanket, but it was a lot of work due to the changing colors and creating each motif separately, then stitching them together. But the finished product is nice. I think it's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Thank you for all of your wonderful ideas and for sending in those projects, Jenny. Next, it looks like Sharon Densmore feels about Christmas the way I do about fall. Take a look. Hi, Frannie. Have been busy doing Christmas things and came up with this tree skirt from looking at different patterns. This is more or less based on an Afghan pattern also. I just used Red Heart wool for this as I wanted it a bit firmer. I love the colors. I love the shape of this. It looks awesome. And she said she combined 2 separate patterns and put them together to make this design. Thank you so much for sending that in, Sharon. This next submission comes from Nixie Pixie. She says, last month a lady in one of the Facebook crochet pages I haunt wanted to find a pattern for a baby set, including dress, diaper cover, booties, and a headband. After a lot of searching, the only place I could find the same picture was an Etsy shop that had at one time sold the item, but not the pattern. Due to a personal tragedy, I needed a distraction, and I didn't want to work on any of my current projects, so I offered to make patterns for her. This required finding measurements for newborns to 3-month-old baby girls. For this, I highly recommend this website, and she sent me a link, which I will put in the description box for everybody to take a look at. The first picture, pink and gray set, is the picture that was shared with me. I made 3 different dresses before I found one I liked. It has a break in the back of the neck so it will fit over the head longer. The nappy or diaper cover I made is not the same as the one in the picture. I felt a little bit more of a lacy feel would go better with the dress. I used a couple of rows of the blossom stitch on the band and a modified rope stitch for the body of the cover. I changed the double crochet to a half double crochet as it looked lacy but had less actual space. I made 2 booty patterns, one easy and one harder due to doubled soles. The headband is purely out of my mind. I tried several ideas ranging from the shell over shell used in the dress to the rope stitch in the nappy cover. I didn't like any of them. I did do a swatch, which I put in the dress pattern. I did not calculate the amount of yarn needed, but even though I frogged and reused 2 of the dresses, I know that 1 skein of 252 yard 4-weight yarn makes all of the items with enough left over for another nappy cover and at least 1 more set of booties. The bows were made with scrap yarn. Wow, you are so talented. I don't know if I should call you Nixie or Nixie Pixie, but you are so talented. Awesome job. Thank you so much for sending those in. Okay, so that was all of our submissions for this week. If you'd like to be a part of our show and tell, they air every Sunday, and you can send me pictures of your work with descriptions to my email address at franniesquare@gmail.com. I love seeing your work. I love getting inspiration from your work, so please send your pictures. Don't be shy. Okay, as always, thank you so much for joining me. I truly appreciate it. Remember to make it your own, and I'll see you soon.